Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a scrapbook layout walkthrough of a workshop that I did for back in November, December, but unfortunately the workshop I wasn't able to get to because we had COVID in the house, so we were in isolation. And then I totally forgot to share this workshop kit with you all online, so I thought I would just walk through it. This catalogue had one of my favourite collections, the Candid Moments paper pack, and you can see it all here with the coordinating cardstock and the PML cards, but I've concentrated mainly just on the pattern papers here. I used particularly this striped paper, this lovely ombre wash, the blue pattern here as well, and I just kept it to these three pattern papers only to create three different scrapbook layouts. You can see with this one I really loved the ombre look of this, and I did not want to cut into it too much or cover it up too much, and most of my layouts are fairly clean and classic style pages, but for this one I particularly wanted these two pieces cut from one sheet of paper to be the highlight and to bring the focal point in for the photo spread here in the middle. What you can see that I have done here, and I've used the Cricut to actually cut out this title from the actual paper, and then I've just laid this straight on top of the white daisy cardstock. You could use foam tape to pop all of that up and give a little bit more dimension, but I wanted to have this title cut from this pattern paper. I've added some mats using shortbread, which works really well with these papers. And the flicks that you can see here are created by pushing down on the ink pad. So you press down really well on the ink. So it's like doing a little bit of CPR. And then the ink transfers to the lead, and that becomes like a palette. And you can use your water brush to just pick that up and flick onto the white daisy for the background and continue this colour tones throughout. I'm hoping this is going to pick up on camera, but what I've also used throughout this workshop set for these papers are the Embroidered Borders stamp set, which is in the current core catalogue. I love all of these borders, particularly this stitched element. So I'm going to hold these up to the camera. You can see I've embellished with some wooden hearts and also with some of the sequins from the gold sequin pack. But I've stamped those borders, the stitched elements, in the corners, under the titles here as well, around this edge of the corner. So there's actually 3 strips of stamping there, and that's done with shortbread ink as well. I've done stamping along the edges of these photo elements, and also to mimic the left side, done the stamping in the corners as well, just to finish off these page. And then this page is all ready for some gorgeous summer photos that I have in mind to put on here. Now with the next double page spread, you can see here that I've got the same title, and that's okay because I'm working on a couple of different projects, so I can use this one on a different project altogether. And the actual letters that I've used here are taken from the cutouts from this sheet here. So it's like a twofer type deal. You cut the title out of a pattern piece and then you can use it again on another layout. So I've put Soaken Up the on this side of the page, and then I've used the sun that's been cut out from here onto the right layout. And I love the ombre look. It really comes through exceptionally well on this yellow toned paper. The sun element here, the sun ray element, I've cut using my Cricut, and also these tags are from the Cricut as well with the little details there. You can see I've used that same stitched element from the Embroidered Borders, and I've used shortbread ink here to go along the edges of the rays to add a little bit of definition to them. And I've also gone around on the edges of the photo mats to bring in those stitched elements. The other elements on this page, the tabs and also this little placeholder here, is from the same catalogue, and it's from the same collection, the Candid Moments, and I've used this label part here on the page here, and then I've cut it again in white daisy so I can use the inside piece. And these little tabbed areas on the outside are this note card that I've just tucked underneath. So you can see that I've tucked 3 of those in, and I've used 2 of those label elements underneath these photos. And these 4 places here are for 4x4 photos. And once again, I've brought in some of the sequins from the gold sequin pack just to add a few little embellishments. Now, while the last 2 layouts were all about outside fun in the sun, this one could be the same, but it's a totally different look to those 2 beachy pages. So I've designed a title, and this is 3 layers. So there's a sapphire base layer, and then the inside parts are with white daisy, and then I've got another layer here with Carolina on top where the letters have been chopped in half, and that's all done in Design Space. And then the rest of this also cut in Design Space as well to have this textured part of the sapphire paper. There's a basket weave type design on that that's quite subtle, and I've gone around the edges of these with sapphire ink to blend the edges out. And these rectangles here with the striped pattern, I've also gone around the edges of those with sapphire ink, because when you're using a pattern paper and there's a white or a neutral type base to it, they sometimes get lost when you put them onto a white daisy cardstock. So for this layout, I've brought in some enamel dots as well, and I've also used from the tabs thin cut this element here. I've run that through my die cutting machine, and when you run that through, the outside parts of all of these tabs will cut, and the inside parts have a score line so you can fold them in half. But I actually cut these in half, and I've used those as a little tab or almost like arrow points going in towards the photos that I want to highlight. And once again, I've gone around the edges of these with sapphire ink to make them pop that a little bit more, and I've popped these up on foam tape. So there's my walkthrough for the 3 double page layouts that I put together using the Candid Moments papers. I really love all the blues and the yellow tones. This ombre paper was definitely my favourite in the pack, so that's why I've made this a feature, as I said before. And bringing in the little stitched elements with the stamping, I think just adds those final touches to these layouts. Thank you for watching this walkthrough of my layouts, and I hope to see you next time. Happy crafting, and bye for now.